Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, which form of the Lord is the highest form? Which one? Swayam Rupa. And this is Vraja Krishna. So, then, what do you call Vilas form? When there is slightly less manifestation of qualities, this form is called Vilas. It is again Krishna, but he decides not to manifest his full sweetness, attractiveness, opulence, etc. So who is the example of Vilas form for Krishna? Narayana. And this Vilas term, we understood that it is a generic term, can be applied for other forms of the Lord as well. For example, Bharata is a Vilasa form of Ramachandra, or Sankarshana is a Vilasa form of Vasudeva, etc. It goes like this.
So when one form appears from another form and presents less qualities,
it's Vilasa to this one. It's not only Vilasa to Krishna, it can be Vilasa of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, for example. Who is the Vilasa form of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu?
Sure.
Yes. And then Swamsha is form that manifests even less qualities than Vilasa. And now we reached text 18 and 19. Which page is this? 27.
I'm sorry.
Definition of Avesha, right? Okay. And there are also different expansions. They are called Avesha. And this is definition: exalted jivas empowered by the Lord with portions of his powers, such as knowledge, are called Avesha forms. Footnote. Another definition appears in Chaitanya Charitamrita. A living entity who is specifically empowered by the Lord with knowledge or strength is technically called Avesha Rupa. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya 7:11, Krishna Shakti Vinanahe Tara Pravartana. Unless a devotee is specifically empowered by the Lord, he cannot preach the holy name of the Lord all over the world. The Lord empowers some of the devotees, some of the jivas, us, with specific opulence and powers that he has, and then only we can do some specific service for the Lord. If we're not empowered by him, we cannot do it on our own. Hare Krishna. So we accept that Jesus was also Shakti Avesha avatar of the Lord, right? Examples existing even in Vaikuntha are Shesha, Narada, and the Kumaras. 19. These are Avesha forms in the spiritual world. There are also Avesha avatars who appear in the material. There are also Avesha avatars who appear in the material world. Okay, the difference is that some of them are in the material world, some are in the spiritual world, but they are all jivas. They are living entities empowered by the Lord. For example, the Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras, the sages, they're empowered with the Jnana Shakti of the Lord. Therefore, they're so knowledgeable. They have knowledge. And Narada Muni is empowered by the Bhakti Shakti. Therefore, he's the paragon of a devotee. He's the devotee with capital D. The main devotee of the universe. One of them, of course, there are many others. Okay, these are described in the story of Akrura in the 10th canto. Thus the 3 forms of Krishna have been described. The Avesha of Shesha, however, refers not to the form which acts as Vishnu's bed, but the other form which supports the universe. So, what that's supposed to mean? Shesha acting as the bed of Vishnu is not a jiva. Okay, Vishnu always lies on Shesha, but this is not a jiva. This is Vishnu Tattva also. But Shesha, who holds up the world on his hood, is a jiva. This Ananta Shesha, who is at the bottom of the universe, and he holds a whole universal structure, and he's a jiva. Go figure. He has some very special Shakti given to him by the Lord. And also he is famous for the Bhagavatam recitation. He is the original speaker of Bhagavatam. And the 4 Kumaras, they go down to the lotus stem and hear Bhagavatam from him. And this vibration, Bhagavatam, rises up in the universe. And all kinds of books and stories, they are perverted expansions of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the Vedas in general. Therefore, in the Mahabharata also, in the beginning it is stated that what you can find in this story, Mahabharata, you'll find everything that is written in any other book in this universe, in the purest form. Of course, there is an exception, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Amala Purana. But besides this, but whatever is written here, you cannot find anywhere else. There are things that are here in Mahabharata which you cannot find in any other book. So anything is there, but here there is something unique. So this sound vibration coming from the Shabda, the original love story of Radha and Krishna, it expands throughout the universe, and through the false ego of the living entities, it gets colored by the Trigunas, and all these other stories that people are so attracted to are perverted reflection of the original story, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, in Bhagavatam, it is stated that it depends on the taste. There are different living entities, different birds. For example, swans, they like clean waters, they like lotus flowers, but there are also other birds, like crows, they like filthy places. So Srila Prabhupada says, in the same way, human beings, they have different literary taste, and some are very exalted and they take pleasure in hearing about the Lord, and there are some others who are very fond of hearing about activities of low-class people, Shudras, Chandalas, and somehow it's very interesting. What happened? Then what did he do? It's the same garbage. There is nothing new, nothing novel. All right. So then, the 3 forms mentioned are Svayam Rupa, Tadakatma Rupa, which has 2 divisions, Vilasa and Svamsha, and Avesha. So these are the 3 forms that we have been hearing about. Svayam Rupa is Krishna, Tadakatma means Krishna's expansions. There are 2 types, Vilasa and Svamsha. Vilasa means almost like the original one, but little less in quality, and Svamsha means even less. And then Avesha, which means Jiva, living entity, which has been empowered by the Lord with specific opulence and Shakti. Text 20, yes.
So, according to what we have here, in the beginning, we have Krishna, who is Swayam Rupa, and he has two personal manifestations. One is when he just expands with other Krishnas, like instead of one Krishna, we have 2, 3, 5, 10, 20. This is Krishna, and also Balaram is considered another Krishna.
Yeah.
Swayam, he himself.
The Prakash expansions, they are not yet mentioned in the text. They will be mentioned just now.
Okay.
Somehow, Rupa Goswami structured his book in this way.
Okay.
So maybe this was the question. What is their position? They're in their separate category. They are neither Vilasa, they're neither Svamsha, they are not Avesha either. They're separate category, Prakash.
But Vilasa and Svamsha is coming from Balaram. Everything
from
comes
Balaram.
from Balaram.
Yes.
So that's why he's considered the original.
He's the original. He's the
material world, spiritual world, everything.
Yeah, Balaram actually is the origin of the Sandhini Shakti. He reveals the spiritual world. Whatever that means. We require a little more realizations on this topic and on many other topics. So, is this okay? This is what I wanted to ask. Okay, so then text 20. Yeah, here you go. The Prakasha forms of Krishna, exactly the next verse answers your question. The Prakasha forms of Krishna are not considered among these types, Tadakatma Rupa. They are non-different from the Svayam Rupa. So Svayam Rupa is Krishna, and when Krishna expands. It's all in the category of Svayam Rupa. But they have a name. There is a name for it. It's called Prakasha. It is known that Krishna takes on many forms when he is with the gopis, such as Chandravali and Radha, or with the queens, such as Rukmini and Satyabhama. Are these forms Amsha, Tadakatma Rupa, or Amshi, Svayam Rupa? So the difference between Amsha and Amshi, we spoke about this yesterday. Avatara and Avatari. What's the difference?
Less qualities.
Yes. The source, Avatari is the source of the Avatara, and Amshi is the source of the Amshas.
So can we say Amshi and Amsha means like, are they parts from the origin or they are the origin?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You nailed it. The forms called Prakasha are not included among the Vilasa or Svamsha forms because they do not have any different features or powers from the other identical forms which appear to be separate from it. There is no difference between Krishna and Krishna when he expands to dance with the gopis. It's the same. Therefore, he is not Krishna who is dancing with the gopis, or Krishna who is with the queens. He is not a Vilasa form or Amsha. He is Svayam Rupa. Okay? Clear? Text 21. When one form manifests in many places and is in all respects the same as the original form, it is called Prakasha. This is the definition. When Krishna leaves the house of Nanda or Vasudeva and goes for meeting different gopis, or the queens in their many houses, he simultaneously expands into many forms. There is a description when Krishna leaves his okay, so Krishna has in Dwaraka more than 16,000 palaces for each queen. So in the morning, when he goes to his job, he has to go to the assembly hall and discuss the different topics and different things that has to be done for the state of Dwaraka, or maybe they want to discuss that some demon wants to attack or whatever. So then he goes out of all these palaces, and all these forms, 16,000, they merge together. And one Krishna enters the assembly, Sudharma assembly hall. And then when he finishes his pastimes there, Krishna doesn't have a job, it's just a pastime. When you have a job means that you have to struggle, you have to suffer to attain some very meager result. You want to build a house for your children. My goodness. It takes years of struggle and hardship, not to mention the amount of time it took to amass, to collect the money. That's, even if you have the money, then it's the whole thing, Especially if you want to build something in India, it's even more complicated. For Krishna, because he's Satya Sankalpa, that means his desires are reality. Whatever he desires, it happens automatically because of his energies. For him, it's pastime. So then Krishna finishes his pastimes in the assembly hall, and then he wants to go back home. Then he again, it's one Krishna, and when he reaches close to his palaces, then he again expands into 16,108 forms, 107 technically. But these forms are the same, no difference. Text 22. Krishna was seen in each palace of each queen in Dwaraka simultaneously. This Prakasha form is made known by the utterance of Narada. An example is given. One should understand that before this event, it occurred in Vraja as well. So before Dwaraka, the same thing happened in Vraja, because Krishna also expanded there to dance with the gopis, expanding himself as many times as there were cowherd women to associate with. The Supreme Lord, though self-satisfied, playfully enjoyed their company. There is description how Narada Muni went to see Krishna in his palaces in Dwaraka. Have you read this? It's in Krishna book. And in each and every palace, Krishna was engaged in different pastimes. So the first time Narada entered the palace of Rukmini, I believe, or Satyabhama. Anyway, and then he saw Krishna and Rukmini playing dice, and Uddhava was there too. Krishna and Rukmini were enjoying life. And then when Krishna saw the great sage, he immediately stood up and welcomed him and worshipped Narada Muni and inquired after his well-being, etc., etc. And Rukmini was personally also attending. And then that was the reception. And then Narada Muni came out and he went to the next palace. And then Krishna was doing something else. I forgot what he was doing. And then again, reception. And then Narada Muni went to the next palace. And then Krishna was doing something else there. And Krishna immediately stood up and, "Oh, Hare Krishna, Narada Muni, welcome." And then Narada, this was too much already, the third one. The third palace was too much. He just looked at Krishna and he stood up and left without saying a word. He was shocked already. Because Krishna dealt with him just like he never saw him before. Not today, they didn't see each other. But then Narada Muni didn't leave Dwaraka. He continued. He went to many, many palaces. And he saw all the range of Krishna's pastimes. And it was amazing for him. Krishna showed to Narada Muni everything, all of his pastimes. Okay, and then the word Kritva Atmanam means manifesting himself. Api gives a restrictive sense, even though he is self-enjoying. Though he is self-enjoying, he enjoyed with them. Tabhi, the forms of spiritual energy. This is elaborately described elsewhere. It is quite amazing that in a single body, Lord Krishna simultaneously married 16,000 women, each in separate palace. Related verses in the same section should also be seen to understand how this illustrates the present subject. So this is another very interesting feature of the Lord. He is Atmarama, that means he is self-satisfied, he is independent, and still, but if he is only independent, then what is our place in the reality? Krishna is completely satisfied on his own, he doesn't need us. Then what are we going to do? Therefore, people are scared when they hear the word independent, especially in family life. If the husband is independent, like with I, capital I, then what's the relationship? Then why does he need a wife at all, or children? So therefore, Krishna, the thing is that if Krishna is only independent, then there is no basis of any relationship with other living entities. Therefore, Krishna is independent, and at the same time he is Bhaktavatsala. He is very kind and very affectionate to his devotees. So he combines these two qualities simultaneously. So although he is independent, he takes great pleasure, and his pleasure and happiness increases when the living entities use properly their free will and they voluntarily offer service to him. But this is not an absurd proposal, because again, we heard yesterday that Krishna's energy is achintya, it's inconceivable. Therefore, it's not illogical. Maybe it's illogical for our laukika, ordinary logic, but it is actually ornamentation of the Lord. Yes, Tusi.
I just thinking there is a verse from Bhagavatam, it's very famous. Atmaram Chamunayo, Nirgranta
Vyahaitu Bhaktim, Don't Hari.
This verse is explaining that the very advanced spiritual personalities like Shukadeva Goswami or the four Kumaras, they are already Atmarama also. So, meaning they are not attracted from anything material, and still they are constantly performing, rendering service to the Lord. Why? Because Bhuta Guno Hari, they are very much attracted from the amazing qualities of Krishna. So they are not attracted from anything material, but still they are attracted from the amazing spiritual qualities of Krishna.
Yeah.
And the same thing can be said about Krishna.
Yeah.
He is not attracted from anything material, but he is attracted from the amazing qualities, spiritual qualities of his energies and his devotees. And that's why he wants to reciprocate.
Yes, very good point. And in Varaka Krishna, it is stated that Krishna was not under the control of the queens because they were very beautiful with their feminine energy. No, they could not control him in this way. But they did control him through one thing, pure devotion. And the external form was just a manifestation of the purity inside. It's manifested as beautiful form, but it was not the attractive element that conquered Krishna. And yeah, Krishna is so attracted to the beautiful qualities of his devotees that in Chaitanya Charitamrita Mahaprabhu he says that Vasudeva Datta or Mukunda, one of his devotees, he completely purchased him, and he's so much Vasudeva Datta. Mahaprabhu said Vasudeva Datta, he bought me, he conquered me, and so much so that he can just take me on the marketplace like an animal and can sell me. I'm completely sold to him. Yeah, this is the most attractive quality of Krishna. He's Bhaktavatsala. Okay, very nice. Thank you. Text 23. Sometimes, even in a four-armed form, Krishna does not give up his nature as Krishna, the son of Yashoda. That form should be considered a prakasha, or the two-armed form, So now we have a funny situation, four-armed form, which is normally a vilasa of Krishna, Narayana. Here it is said that the four-armed form should be considered two-armed form. How? Why?
Because the mood is the same.
Because the mood is the same. And that means that the implication of this is that the mood, the consciousness, the primary elements are always more important than the secondary. Although there is no secondary element in the form of the Lord because it's absolute. But still, the appearance is not so important. Here we will see the examples given. Okay, let us read the examples. But should not the four-handed form that Krishna showed to Rukmini when she fainted in fear that he would leave her be considered vilasa, since the shape is different? So we have the pastime when Krishna decided he was teasing Rukmini after they were married and had grown-up children for a long time. Krishna one day decided to have fun and to experience the anger of Rukmini, because she was always very submissive and very respectful to him. And Krishna decided to tease her, to make her angry, and he proposed some very strange things. He told her, I think that, my dear Rukmini, you made a mistake. You married me, and I am unqualified to be your husband. You should have married one of these great kshatriyas that wanted to marry you. I don't even have a varna. People don't know, they're confused. Who am I? I was a cowherd boy. I grew up in a village, tending cows and cows. I didn't get proper kshatriya training. Then I became kshatriya, so-called kshatriya. But then I ran away from the battlefield, and I built this fortress afraid of my enemies in the middle of the ocean, Dvaraka. So obviously, and you were coming from a spotless lineage, you were way, way above my level, you out of my league. And you should better, it's not too late. You just imagine, he goes on and then he builds and then he has the, what shall I say, the audacity to propose to Rukmini that she should reconsider and should remarry. You can now marry some of these more qualified people. And Rukmini, when she heard this, she understood that there's something wrong. She was becoming more and more downcast and upset and sad. And then at one point, she just fainted. So Krishna could not invoke her anger. He tried his best, but Rukmini would just not get angry at him. And then she fainted, and then at this moment, Krishna was surprised, and then he manifested 2 extra arms, and he caught Rukmini, and then with the other set of arms, she was caressing her and taking care. So this is the incident mentioned here. So the question now is, this is a four-armed form, so isn't it more logical that this is a vilasa form of Krishna? And the answer is, this verse answers. According to Medimi Kosha, Rupa means nature and beauty. Thus Krishna Rupa Tam Na Tyajet means he does not give up his nature of Krishna as the son of Mother Yashoda. So although he changes his form, he doesn't give up his mood of Krishna. He doesn't take on the mood of Narayana, the controller and the enjoyer, the master of the material universe, for example, or some other form, some other mood. So because his nature remains the same, he should be considered the same, prakasha, instead of vilasa. So that means that the mood is always more important than the appearance. Just like in Brahma Samhita, it is stated that according to the mood, the devotees in the spiritual, they accept different forms. They have a certain affection for Krishna, and this affection is manifested and revealed the best by a certain form, therefore they accept this form. The cowherd boys, they love Krishna as their friend. The appropriate form for this type of love is a form of a cowherd boy, therefore they have this form. It's not other way around. The two-armed form is the basic form in that situation. Thus, in the Smriti, it says, Yatra Vatirnam Krishna Kyam Param Brahma Narakriti. Amongst the Yadu, the Supreme Brahman called Krishna appeared in a human form, Vishnu Purana. There is no disturbance to the two-handed form. If sometimes, for joking, there is a prakash of four hands, because even then Krishna's nature remains that of the two-handed form. The same explanation can be given for Krishna's four-handed appearance when he was born in the prison house, where it is said, Babuba Prakrita Shishu. He then appeared in his original baby form. Another example it comes to mind is when Ashwatthama he first of all he killed the sons of Draupadi, and then what happened? Then he released a Brahmastra
to kill Ashwatthama.
Yeah, and at one point when Arjuna caught him, and he brought him in front of Draupadi, and there were Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhimasena, Krishna was there, Draupadi, and then in the purport Srila Prabhupada writes how we can easily envision how Krishna had to manifest more arms, because he had to restrain Bhima, who was coming forward. And he had to, so this is another form of the same, I think. I hope it's philosophical speculation. Another example when, although Krishna manifested more different form, but he kept his mood as Krishna, so it is not a Vilasa or Swamsha, but it is Swayamrupa. Proof of the two-handed form in the Shruti is the following. He is the Supreme Lord with eyes like lotuses, the complexion of a cloud, clothed flashing like lightning, with two arms, wearing a forest garland, fingers poised in the mudra of silence, Gopal Tapani Upanishad. One should not consider the four-armed form superior to the two-armed form. Sometimes one sees statements such as the following. The gross eight-armed form has been described. The subtle four-armed form has been described. And the supreme two-armed form has been described. Therefore, one should worship all three. In that verse, it states that one should worship all three because they are equal. However, it is described in the Gopala Tapani Upanishad that Brahma, after worshipping the two-armed form, carried out the creation. Thus the idea that Krishna is Samtodita form is rejected. That means material form. So the two-armed form of the Lord is superior. Why? Because it allows the greatest possible range of different relationships and rasas, and allows the devotee to be closer to the Lord, to render more confidential, intimate service. Otherwise, yes.
Because we see Krishna sometimes, for a short period, he may manifest the mood of Narayana. Like, for example,
right.
He manifests universe as and this and that. He shows universal form to Arjuna, shows universal form to Duryodhana. So Krishna can do this, and again come to his original mood. But we don't see Narayana doing this. Like, we don't see Narayana
becoming Krishna.
like sitting in the on lap of his mother or whatever, and
Yeah, that's
okay, feed me now milk or something. We don't see
getting angry at his mom. You don't see this. I was just wondering, how about the pastime when Krishna revealed Narayana form to bewilder the gopis? What kind of form is this? So it must be also Swayam Prakash.
according to this description.
But if it was Prakash form, then why the gopis did not see him? Why did they see him as Narayan? Yeah, this is like the Joker. You cannot say anything, you just get it, and then you win the game if you have this card. Yeah, the Lila. But then Radharani saw him as Krishna. Anyway, it's just okay. Text 24. That the abodes of all these forms are beyond the material realm is clearly stated in the scriptures such as Padma Purana, Uttarakanda. It goes without saying that the forms of the Lord are eternal. Therefore, their abodes should be also eternal. It is said, just as the dear cities of the Lord exist on earth, they exist in Vaikuntha for performing various pastimes. Skanda Purana. It is very clear from the Padma Purana that the Lord's abodes are eternal. All the greatly effulgent avatars such as Matsya and Kurma always live in eternal spiritual abodes in Vaikuntha, Padma Purana. So all these forms, they have eternal abodes. Matsya, Kurma, also they have places here in this material universe. We'll read about this. Okay, questions, comments? This was the first chapter of Laghu Bhagavatamrita, and now chapter 2. Description of the Purusha avatars and Guna avatars. Verse breakdown. Defining and classifying the avatars and their agents. Dvara. Agents means, Dvara means how the avatar appeared. That's what it means. For example, Krishna's agent was his father and mother, Vasudeva. And what was the agent of Nrsimhadev? Yes. Or maybe not. Maybe it's Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, because all real avatars appear through him. Anyway, we will read now. Description of the Purusha avatars, 6 to 15. Description of the Guna avatars, 16 to 59. And inside this we have Brahma, 19:25, Rudra, 26:32, and Vishnu, 33:59. Chapter summary. Having divided the forms of the Lord into 3 broad categories, so now Rupa Goswami asks which of these forms descends into the material world. In other words, which of these forms are avatars and which is the source of all avatars. So far Rupa Goswami, first of all, he defined the pramana, the proof. He explained that the evidence are the Vedas. And then he started to describe the topic of the book, which is Krishna, the sweetness coming from Krishna and the sweetness coming from Krishna's devotees. And first of all, he divided the different forms of the Lord into three broad categories, and they are Swayam Rupa, and then Tathakatma Rupa, and which has 2 subdivisions, Vilasa and Svamsha, and then Avesha forms. And now Rupa Goswami will speak about the avatars. That means when all these different forms, they come to the material universe, they are called avatars. So now this will be the discussion. Because so far we have been talking about the spiritual world and the spiritual pastimes of the Lord. Now, when the Lord comes to this universe, what happens? To those with a poor fund of knowledge, the Shastras appear to give conflicting statements regarding who is supreme Whether Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu, or whether all forms of God are simply manifestations of the modes of material nature. So these are all bogus propositions. The form of the Lord, all forms of the Lord are above the gunas. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I appear through my spiritual potency. What was the verse? Atma Maya. Ajopisam abhyatma bhutano ishvaropisam prakritim svam adishtaya sambhavami Atma Maya. Although I am unborn and eternal, ajopisam, and abhyatma, unborn, unmanifest, I appear through my internal potency, Atma Maya. That means Krishna is never conditioned by the gunas. He is the origin of the gunas, but he is not conditioned by them. Find it? Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Thank you. So the form is original, transcendental, is not material. And then other people, they say Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu. This will be a lengthy discussion later on. Text 1. Srila Rupa Goswami resolves such doubts here and gives conclusive information concerning the first two categories of avatara, the Purusha and Guna avatars. Text 1. Among the avatars described, Krishna is Swayam Rupa, the complete avatari, the basis of all other forms. By previously describing Krishna as Swayam, it is understood that Krishna is the root of all the avatars. Now begins a description of the avatars. It may be objected that Krishna is also glorified as one of the avatars. This verse responds, occasionally he is counted as an avatara because of appearing in this world like the others. So here the doubt is, you say that Krishna is avatari, he is the origin, but he is also avatara, he appears in material universe. And this verse answers, the avatari also has the opportunity, because he is the origin of all, he is the supreme. He can also appear as avatara, although he is not avatara. He appears as he is. So the fact that he is avatara doesn't mean that he comes from somebody. He is independent. He keeps his supreme status. Okay? It's clear. Text 2. In the forms previously described, Svayam Rupa Tadakatma and Avesha, if the forms previously described, Svayam Rupa Tadakatma and Avesha, appear in this world as ever unique, either directly or through an agent, for certain purposes in the material world, they are known as avatars. So this is the definition of avatara. When Svayam Rupa, Tadakatma or Avesha appear in this world, they are called avatars. The form that descends from the spiritual world to the material world is called an avatara. Matsya and Hamsa, who appear directly for Brahma, maybe from Brahma, anyway, for Brahma, manifested forms without a visible source. Okay, Matsya and Hamsa didn't have a visible source. They just appeared out of nowhere. According to Mahabharata and other scriptures, whereas Garbhodakashaya Vishnu appears from Karnodakashaya Vishnu, Krishna appears from Vasudeva, and Rama appears through Dasharatha. What is their purpose? They appear to produce the universe or to perform activities within the universe. So what are these two purposes? First, to produce the universe, to create the universe. Why Krishna has to create the universe? Because living entities want to be separated from him, and Krishna gives them this opportunity, and also he gives opportunity for all living entities to develop their consciousness, to awaken their Krishna consciousness, and to go back home to Godhead. And also he comes into the universe to perform lila, pastimes. Why? To attract them, and to show them that there is better place to be. And he hopes that they will take the offer. Otherwise, a little later, Kalki will appear, and then there will be no more preaching. They'll be swept away. That means they appear to produce Mahat Tattva by agitating Prakriti, Mahavishnu, or to satisfy the devatas by killing the sinful, to give bliss to the devotees, longing to see the Lord by becoming visible to them, and to preach pure bhakti. So they appear to produce Mahat Tattva by agitating Prakriti. Prakriti or Pradhana is the undifferentiated state of the total material energy, where there is no Panchamahabhuta, they are not differentiated. There is no earth, water, fire, air, and ether. There are no sense objects. So when Mahavishnu glances over Prakriti, then he agitates Prakriti through the living entities, because this is the glance of Mahavishnu. Living entities and time, Shambhu, enter the primordial Pradhan, which is completely homogeneous. And then because of the desires of the living entities, they want to fulfill their material desires, then Prakriti turns into Mahatattva, which is a subtle intermediate stage in between fully like Svapna, deep sleep, and Jagrata, completely awakened. There is middle stage, which is called dream-like stage. What was the Svapna? Shushupti. No, Shushupti is the, sorry, I did it wrong. Shushupti is the stage when it's a deep sleep without dreams, and then Jagrata is the awakened stage, and in between this is Svapna, when we are dreaming about something. So this is the Mahatattva is this stage. And because the living entities have these desires, Mahatattva evolves gradually, and in order to facilitate the desires of the living entities. The living entities have desires to control and enjoy. First of all, they need to have false ego. So then the ego appears, the false ego. But before even the false ego is the, anyway. And then false ego has to evolve into facilities, mind, material mind, senses, sense objects. That's why we are here. And then material energy under Krishna's supervision has to provide all of this. And this is the creation, the different steps. And they are controlled by different expansions of Krishna. Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And therefore, anyway, Hiranyagarbha means it glows because of the desires of the jivas. It becomes alive with desires, the material energy. Okay, then, so Mahat Tattva by agitating Prakriti, or to satisfy the devatas by killing the sinful. The devatas are constantly praying, not constantly, but quite often. There is always some disturbance in the universe, and they are praying to the Lord, please appear, please dispose of this demon. When Krishna appears and he starts fighting with the demon, and the demigods are gathering and they're watching the fight and they're cheering for the Lord because they know if he doesn't win, we're gonna have a big problem, because this guy, he saw us that we are cheering and he kind of knew this before, but now we made it explicit. So if the Lord loses the battle, then we have a big problem. And then Krishna plays with the demon for a while, and then they get impatient, and then Brahma says, my dear Lord, now is the time, Abhijit, the middle of the day, this is the best moment, you have to dispose of this demon now because all these rakshasas and demons, they get more and more strength when the darker hours arrive. And then don't wait, kill him now. And then Krishna kills the demon, and then the demigods, they're very happy, they glorify the Lord. Thank you very much. We are always your servants. Thank you. Now please, you can go now. And then we have things to do. Now finally we can enjoy again. Thank you. Thank you. And then Krishna is very kind. He goes to Vaikuntha. And the demigods are left to enjoy until the next calamity occurs. And then they pray again. Shodra Maharaj said that the definition of Narada Muni gave a definition. The definition of a devata is a person who, when things go rough and there is problem, he prays to the Lord. This is the devata, because in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains that there are people who never pray to the Lord, even when things turn very bad. They still don't pray to the Lord. They just they gather together and they try to make another plan. Yes.
Reading today, when they were praying for Vritrasura Tessa, and then Prabhupada describes that actually the Lord always anticipates anxiously that maybe they will pray
for pure bhakti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Service for him. And they never do, and then he's a bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Like that. So he never gives up his
Amazing.
hopes on that.
Amazing. Amazing. This is what Krishna tells also Gopakumara. We spoke about this, I think, the first lecture. He tells him the same. I was hoping every birth, every time that you take a birth, that this time you will become my devotee and you will turn to me. And it never happened. So you broke my heart many times. We're very stubborn. We don't want Krishna. We want our material enjoyment. And Krishna is there to provide for this enjoyment, to protect us when we have troubles. But yeah, I always felt a little sad when you read these pastimes when Krishna appears and then some devotee, some demigod, he offers very nice prayers to him, and then Krishna is blessing him, and then what happens? Krishna just disappears, and I was always wondering why the devotee doesn't. I want to stay with you. Why? This is what Muchukunda asked. Muchukunda, when he offered prayers to the Lord, he expressed his desire. Now I want to be part of your pastimes. But then Krishna had a problem with that, because Muchukunda was from previous age and he was enormous, he was very large. And Krishna calculated, if I take him now with me, I have to go to Kurukshetra war. And he will just trample upon them like, there was some very nice analogy there. So I cannot possibly do that now. And Krishna gave some reasons why this cannot happen. He told him that, well, you still have to purify yourself. But although he was already pure devotee, anyway, Krishna tricked him. But at least Muchukunda had this desire. But the demigods, they rarely have this desire. And then, to give bliss to the devotees, longing to see the Lord by becoming visible to them, this is the main reason why Krishna appears, because he can accomplish all other tasks by his energy. But only he can alleviate the pain of the devotees. He personally can do that. Nobody else can. Therefore he appears. And to preach pure bhakti, another reason. Paritrana sadhunam vinashya chadushkidam. Dharma samstapanartaya sambhavam yogi yogi. Apurva iva means that they appear ever unique, as if not having appeared before. Thus they all remarkable. So this answers a doubt that perhaps some of you had, because we hear how in one kalpa, one day of Brahma, Krishna appears so many times. Isn't that for Brahma, for example, or for other Chiranjivas, because they see all these pastimes again and again? Isn't it boring every day? Because every day in the life of Brahma, Krishna and Mahaprabhu, they appear. So every day they work the same pastime. After a while it becomes...
life has many days.
Many days, 100 years, Brahma will not suffer a heart attack or he will not get diseased, die prematurely. This won't happen. So then, so long lifespan and so many pastimes. And here, apurva means they appear ever unique, as if not having appeared before. That's the answer. How is it happening? Achintya Shakti, the Lord has inconceivable potency. So it appears ever fresh. It's like the first time. It's like you watch a movie and you kind of know the movie and you like the movie. You know that it's the best movie, and you watch it again and again and it's ever fresh. Something new happens. Okay, text 3 to 5. The agent of the Lord's appearance may be a Tadakatma Rupa, the Lord. So the Lord may appear from the Lord. Life comes from life. God appears from God. Yeah. Or a devotee. Mahavishnu lying on Shesha is an example of the Tadakatma Rupa agent, cause of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and Vasudeva, father of Krishna, is an example of a devotee acting as an agent. There are 3 types of avatara: Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, and Lila avatars. The avatars, how about Manvantara avatar? They are not mentioned here. Why only 3 types?
Maybe they from category 3
Yeah. The avatars are generally the Svamsha and Avesha forms. The appearance of Swayam Rupa as an avatar will be explained later. So they are generally Svamsha or Avesha, but also Swayam Rupa can appear as an avatar. That's Krishna. Svamsha refers to Sankarsana, lying on Shesha and others. Avesha refers to Narada, the Kumaras, Prithu and others. Generally means that sometimes the Swayam Rupa appears. Atra means among the avatars. The description of the appearance of the Swayam Rupa will occur after the discussion of the Lord of Vaikuntha in chapter 5. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, Thursday, we will continue with the Purusha avatars. This was the introduction. Okay? Some reflections? Questions? Today was not so technical as yesterday. It's kind of more smooth. Yes?
What Ishwara Chandra said makes sense, because if you think about it, many of those Manvantara avatars, because they are here for a very long period, they do perform certain leelas, pastimes, like for example Vamana.
Mm-hmm.
He is Manvantara avatara.
But it's also Lila avatar.
But actually we don't know Vamana as Manvantara avatar. We know him as a Lila avatar.
Right.
He appeared and performed the pastimes with Bhagwan Maharaj. So it makes sense that most probably
I think something like this was mentioned, I think. And also there are other intricacies. For example, the Yuga avatars. What was it? Okay, you have the Manvantara avatara, and it's for 14 manus. And this Manvantara avatara, for example, Vamana, he expands as the 4 yugas, for the Yuga avatars. Again and again, every kalpa, he expands again and again. So that's another interesting detail. There are lots of those we'll read about later on. Okay. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.